my opinion, right there toward the end of the fourth quarter, that was the pivotal. That was a pivotal pivotal mistake. Excuse me, on Mike Scott's behalf, and he even talked about it following the game that he felt like he cost the Hawks the basketball game. And I was on Twitter hashtag blame Mike Scott before we ever even heard that, because I saw the play clear as day. I saw it when it happened. I saw the replay. I saw it. On the replay of the game is I watched the game again. I saw it again. You got to make those plays, Mike Scott. You got to make those plays, because here's the deal. Well, nobody's really talking about it because there were so many other things that happened in the game with Kyle Korver not being there, with Al Horford being suspended. Why I keep saying suspended, being ejected in the second half. Because of his involvement with Matthew Dellavedova. And it's just kind of unbelievable, man. That we've waited so long. And when I say we, I mean citizens of Metro Atlanta, citizens of the state of Georgia. We've waited so long to see the Atlanta Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals. And all that people can talk about are the refs. A Dellavedova. And here's the thing with Matthew Dellavedova. I like the guy. He's scrappy. I'm not going to call him a goon. There were a lot of people calling him a dirty player because the Taj Gibson situation where he leg locked Taj Gibson's foot, which again didn't affect the basketball game. And then Taj Gibson decided to kick the man in the butt and he got ejected. Then you have Dellavedova rolling up on Kyle Korver, which, again, a basketball play. I don't consider that to be dirty. I don't. And then the whole Al Horford thing. Again, I don't consider what Matthew Dellavedova is out there doing to be dirty. I think the guy is scrappy. I think the guy is one of these people that want to win. Now, maybe he is an agitator. I think Reggie Miller was calling him an agitator. Maybe he is. But damn it, so was Dennis Rodman. If you're old enough to remember Dennis Rodman with the Bulls, to remember Dennis Rodman with the Pistons, Dennis Rodman was an agitator. This is what he did. Who remembers the series, and I can't remember if it was the Bulls' 5th championship or the 6th championship where they beat the Utah Jazz, and Dennis Rodman was just all in Karl Malone's psyche. Remember that? What did he do? Pat him on the butt or something? And Karl Malone just lost his mind out there on the court? You have certain guys that play the game at a very high level, but they have this other part of their skill set that enables them to be able to get under the skin of the opponents. And that gives you a competitive advantage. Bottom line. Now, we had a goon here in Atlanta by the name of Ivan Johnson, a guy that I was very fond of. But we didn't keep Ivan. He didn't fit the whole, the new regime of the Atlanta Hawks and what we had going on. Maybe you need a goon on your team. Think about that. maybe you need one. Everybody has one. And people like to talk about Piro and Teach looking like he's a member of the mafia or like he's a tough guy. I ain't seen nothing tough out of him. Got some nice tats. I ain't seen anything tough out of Piro. The Cavaliers, they have this guy named Kendrick Perkins that every now and again when the game gets chippy and they just need somebody to come in the game and regulate, they bring him in. Ask Jay Crowder. How did that work? Remember that? He came in, regulated, punked Jay Crowder, didn't get ejected, didn't get suspended, no nothing. He got a goon game and everybody knows it. I mean, the rest of the game is gone. But the goon thing, it's alive and well. The Cavs have had no need to roll out the goon against the Atlanta Hawks. And with the number of injuries and everything that the Hawks have right now, I don't think it's a good idea to get out there tonight and try to play physical basketball. I think you got to go out there and play your game just like Houston did in their must-win situation. I don't think you worry about what happened in Game 3 and what happened in Game 2 when Kyle Korver got hurt. I think you go out there and you play your heart out and you try to take that victory in Cleveland and come back home. As Michael Collins' article would say, for just one reason. And so Michael Collins is coming up in just a sec. This is the Sports Kings podcast. Don't forget, you can always hit us up via social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Sports Kings Live. And send us an email. We love to get emails, sportskingslive@gmail.com. Michael Collins from fansided.com is coming up right after these words.
What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Big Mike.
Yep. And this is RC, Rob Calloway.
First of all, we'd like to thank everybody for being down with the Kings and for supporting Sports Kings Live.
Your listens, downloads, likes, and follows have allowed this show to grow by leaps and bounds in just a few months.
Now, if you have a product or a business and you'd like to promote it on this show,
it's simple. Just email us at sportskingslive@gmail.com. And once again, thank you for being down with the Kings. And as promised, we are being joined right now by Michael Collins of fansided.com to talk about his article that's up on the site today. Hawks Cavaliers NBA playoff series need to go 5 games for just one reason. First of all, Michael, thank you for joining us on the Sports Kings podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rob. Good to talk to you again.
Oh, yes, sir. Now, tell us about this one reason that this game needs to go, that this series needs to go 5 games.
I think everybody knows the reason. It's because of Matthew Dellavedova. It needs to come back to Atlanta so the Hawks fans have a chance to kind of release some anger and give him the business and let him know they're not appreciative of his style of play and what he's done to kind of hinder the Hawks' chances in this series.
Now, and I was just talking about this. I'm one of these guys, like, I loved 80s NBA basketball, 90s NBA basketball, the real physical, chippy basketball that once was. And looking at Matthew Dellavedova and a guy like Dennis Rodman, right? That was the ultimate agitator. I don't really see a difference between the two, and I don't really think that this guy is playing dirty as many would say.
I really kind of want to disagree there because Rodman and Bill Laimbeer and some of those other hard-nosed basketball players, it was chippy and it was physical and it was tough under the boards and there were, kind of elbows flying around and bodies banging. But when you start going down low and you start rolling up on people's ankles and knees, you're talking about serious damage there, and that's not the kind of thing that needs to be done in the NBA. And we're seeing a pattern of behavior here from Dellavedova in the way he does it. And if you look real closely, yeah, he's diving for the ball. The play with Kyle Korver, he was going for the ball, but you could definitely see him make an effort to also take Korver out of the play. Now, I'm not saying that he was trying to sprain Korver's ankle or to hurt him intentionally, but he was trying to take Korver out of the play. That was obvious. That wasn't just a natural roll the way he was going. He made sure that he stayed on top of Korver's legs. And, he's got a history of this already. His 3 biggest plays in the playoffs have involved him going low, scissoring someone's legs or rolling up on someone, and that's just not the way it needs to be done.
Well, in the Bulls series, and we are being joined by Michael Collins of fansided.com talking about his article today, Hawks Cavaliers NBA playoff series need to go 5 games for just one reason. And you can follow him on Twitter at Mike. What is your Twitter? At Georgia GA Sports Craze, right?
GA Sports Craze, yes, that's it.
CRAZE. But going back to the Bulls series, now the whole thing with Taj Gibson, where he kind of leg locked Gibson's foot. Now, again, I don't like that. That's the one play that sticks out probably the most out of the 3 plays because, yeah, he definitely locked onto it to Gibson's foot. Now, did it affect the game? I don't think so. Was Gibson's reaction, was it over the top or was it human? I'll go with the human thing. I wouldn't go with over the top. I mean, I think at the end of the day, you sit back and you wish you hadn't have made kick the man in the butt, if you will, and ended up being ejected from the game. Kind of like the Al thing. Like when I look at that play, Michael, and this is what I see. When I look at that play, I see Dellavedova kind of backing into Horford, and Horford's arm kind of, I'm not going to say locking on purpose, but kind of around Dellavedova, and it looked like both of them started to fall. and Dellavedova just happened to be right there on the knee of Horford. It is what it looked like to me. And then you see everybody knows what happened after that. The elbow, which again could have been a lot worse. But I think Horford actually kind of slowed down in the middle of what he was doing and thought about it. But I just don't, I'm not big on excuses, right? And I think, for the Hawks, I think it's so many other things, Michael, right? Now,
there's absolutely things the Hawks have, got to fix. They've been beaten by a better team. But then again, in that overtime game on Wednesday night, if Al Horford's in there, if he's your go-to guy, if you're not having to depend on some of these other players, is there a different outcome? Are we at 2-1 now? If you've got Kyle Korver in there, is it a much different outcome? Korver hadn't been real effective up to that point, but you never know when he was going to break out. I just think that his style of play, the Dellavedova style of play, he's got to be more careful, and his coaches have got to be more aware of telling him, hey, if you're going to go down low, if you're going to dive for ball, make sure you're diving away from people's legs, that you're not running up into people's legs, because we can't have this become a habit and have referees looking at you all the time thinking, okay, we got to watch this guy. He's a dirty player, and getting more whistles than we should.
Now, okay, in your ideal situation, if the Hawks win tonight and come back to Phillips Arena, what should the crowd be like, man?
Oh, the crowd should give it to Dellavedova. They absolutely should. They should turn him into the biggest villain, and maybe he'll relish that role. Who knows? He seems like, kind of a feisty, scrappy little guy who doesn't really care what people think, and maybe he'll be a Paul Pierce type player that loves getting the raspberries from the fan. But I just think the Hawks fans need the opportunity to vent, need the opportunity to let them know that they're not appreciative of what has happened, and just to have some fun with it. It may be that the Hawks are done. Chances are they are. You never know what can happen. The Hawks can come back and, rattle off 4 straight.
Don't do that, Mike.
It could happen. They can rattle off 4 in a row. But, I think we need to have at least one more game at Phillips so that the fans have a chance to cheer for their team, to thank them for the season, and also to let Matthew Dellavedova know that, hey, we know that you're a black hat, and we're going to make sure that you are uncomfortable in our arena.
Michael Collins of Fansided.com joins us live right now to talk Hawks Cavaliers. NBA playoff series needs to go 5 games for just one reason is his latest article up on the Fansided.com website. Now just let's flip this thing around, Michael, and say Dellavedova plays for the Hawks. Then what?
I would absolutely have the same opinion.
Really?
I think that I would. I think that physical play is good in basketball. And I think that a lot of the fouls that have been instituted and the way the game is being called has made it a little too soft. But I think, again, like I said before, once you go down low, once you start rolling into people's legs, knees, ankles, things like that, that's where you don't want to go. You want to bang bodies and knock them down on their butt? Go ahead. But let's not hurt people and endanger careers.
Now, you watch these Atlanta Hawks just like I do. What do you think right now is the biggest deficiency? You hear a lot of people talking about the Hawks don't have that quote unquote superstar to be able to stop the bleeding when things get out of control. You hear about them not having a true center. But looking at these Hawks right here, the regular season Eastern Conference champs, what are the biggest deficiencies in your opinion?
I think the biggest deficiency is that the Hawks lack some size, and that's obvious. They're a finesse team. They're a ball movement team. And when they come up against defenses that play very physical, that blanket the guys on the wings, that keep the lane clogged up, it's tough for them to move the ball the way they should. We saw that against Washington. But I think that the formula can work. I think this team philosophy, a whole bunch of guys carrying the team and not having a superstar, I think it can work. It hasn't worked since the Detroit Pistons a number of years ago. The same form, you could say the formula was the same in San Antonio, but then again, they've got Tim Duncan, and he's a bona fide superstar. So it's not really a fair comparison, but I think it can work. I think the Hawks just need to continue building on what they've got, bring the pieces back that need to come back, and definitely I think get a little strength and size down low inside. I don't know about a true center, but maybe a power forward with a little more size, someone maybe LeBron's type physique.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because Tristan Thompson is just